Hey guys, how you doing? Jonny from the Chat Shop here, and I want to take a couple of minutes and talk you through some of the concepts and ideas that we're working on, specifically about the customer journey and how that's kind of changing and evolving through time. So this is a model that we've started working with, and it's got the very catchy title in progress, suggestions on a postcard, of the commitment value funnel. And really the idea here is we were starting to think about how the customer journey is changing, how the touch points through their journey is changing before they actually become a customer. A lot of what I'm going to talk about is generally about a lead-based business, but you can easily apply the same principles to an e-com-based business or e-com-based transactions as well. So let's get into it and see what your thoughts are really. So just to explain the model here, please don't judge my art because it's not very good. Over here we have low commitment and equally low value. So what we mean by this is it's really easy for the customer to do it. It doesn't take them much effort, much thought process. They don't have to give you much to do it. And equally it's quite low value to you as an organization. You probably don't have their details, and because they're not that interested, because they don't have to commit that much, they're probably not necessarily at a stage at this level, they're going to go all the way and buy. So that's the one end, and then equally at the other end we have high commitment, meaning the effort that a customer has to make to complete the activity is high, therefore the investment in that activity is going to be high, and comparably that normally results in high value for you. This is what we kind of call like closing the deal, like right at the end stage where they're actually becoming a customer. So what we've kind of done here is thought about the different touch points that are coming through and how they evolve over time. So if we think way back pre-internet, this might look really simple. It might have literally been speak to some friends, go in the store / call you up, buy something, and those things would be really succinct because the steps are really simple. Then obviously digitization, we might then have a website visit and then I phone you up and then I buy something. And what I think we're seeing over time as more channels come into play is we're seeing that the process that people go through is longer, it involves more touch points, and they actually speak to you later and later and later. So the journey that people go on and the different channels they engage with means you have to be more available, you have to be around more, you have to be producing more content, more stuff for people to eat and consume so they can go through this journey on their own pretty much until they speak to you. So to outline what we've got here, at the top end we might have ads, you might have display advertising, you might have social advertising, you might have some other form of ads, you might still be doing media buys, radio and stuff like that. I listen to stuff in the car on the way here, different law firms and so on and so forth through advertising. My commitment to that is really low. I'm sat in the car, I'm not doing anything, I have nothing better to do, but I'm hearing the advert, and therefore the value for that organisation from me particularly as a consumer is likely to be extremely low as well. If we then jump that forwards, maybe I go and visit your website. Now, you might say, well, hang on a second, that's a really high commitment activity, really high value. I don't personally see it as being, I visit sites all the time just to look. It's kind of a weird behaviour when you think about it, but think about what you do yourself, and I bet you'll put yourself in the same shoes. Social media kind of sits across this. We put it here for now in the sense of if I like your content, if I retweet you, if I like something on Instagram, if I follow you, the actual commitment it takes me to do that is the push of a button. The ability for me to get rid of you is another push of a button, so my commitment to do that is pretty low, and for you to actually engage me to the point so much so that single-handedly that post gets me all the way to the end again is unlikely. So after that we've got content marketing. Now the content marketing we're kind of talking about here is more gated, so I normally have to share some information with you to get that, and therefore the reason we've put that here in this instance is it's reasonably decent commitment. Depending on what you're asking for, depending on how complex your form is, I guess, you could say it's lower commitment. A lot of people doing ungated content, we just push that over up the funnel. But if you're looking at gated content, typically that requires some commitment. And then we've got a good old friend, the phone. Some of you may not use this, obviously, if you're in e-com, but in lead gen, a lot of organizations will still be closing deals and closing business and still need the phone. And in some organizations, there'll even be a face-to-face interaction that still happens. So that's kind of how we've modeled things. Now, you'll notice there's an absence from the commitment value funnel, and that absence, of course, is chat. So I want to talk a little bit about how we see chat fitting into this particular process. So what we're seeing at the moment, where's the board roller? Okay, here. What we're seeing at the moment is that the buyer is doing more and more of their research away from you. And what's essentially happening, if I just redraw this a sec, is that the gap and the amount of time, energy and commitment it's taking for them to go from this layer to this layer is getting wider. They're reading more, they're speaking to more people, they want to see reviews, they want to see videos, they want to see webinars, they want to pretty much do almost as much of their education as possible because they don't trust you. They think you're just going to sell them some snake oil. They want to make sure they're informed, they want to make sure they're making a good decision. So they're doing a lot more of this stuff, which is meaning that the commitment level that people have to have in order to take the next sequential step in this journey, which is to pick up the phone, is a lot higher. People have to be a lot more convinced that they potentially want to buy your product before they pick up the phone. This is what all the research is indicating, that buyers are more educated, they're conducting more of their research away from the sales organization. Now this presents a challenge. The challenge is twofold. One is that it puts a massive onus on your content machine, it puts a massive onus on driving more traffic at the top of the funnel, driving your awareness piece as well. But it also makes a challenge because your salespeople aren't able to do much selling. What they're doing really, or should be doing, is a consultative approach where they're talking people through their options and helping them buy the right products and services. But a lot of knowledge typically is with the sales guys, right? In terms of what products work well, what's good for particular buyers. But buyers are wanting to make that decision on their own. The other challenge this presents is that up until here, they are not going to be talking 9 times out of 10 to a human being in a real-time, one-to-one interaction. Now you might say, well, that's not a problem at all. You know, they can read their ebooks in their own time, they can go on our Twitter, they can tweet us, we'll get back to them in 24 hours, etc., etc. But the point I want to make here is that the human-to-human connection, the people-to-people connection, whatever you want to call it, is still the most powerful tool in persuading, in getting someone to understand your product, in getting them to like you, because you're the name behind the brand, right? You are the empirical experience of the particular product or service they're buying. And you're also typically quite helpful as well. So when we get to this particular stage, and trying to get people to this stage is becoming harder and harder and harder. And where we see chat filling a real gap is right about here, okay? And we're going to extend that like this. Now the reason I'm going to extend that all the way across is because chat is a very low commitment channel. Okay, so almost with all of our customers, without fail, we take a non-pre-chat survey approach. What that means is that we don't ask for any details from them before they chat, right? So they can just click in the box and they're connected to someone. It's simple, it's easy. I don't have to give you my email address, my dog's name, my favorite color when I was 10 years old or whatever else. I can just click in the box and it sets everything up and we get going and have a conversation. The other thing that's really interesting, especially for all you Brits out there, is most people have a real problem hanging up the phone, which is a good thing. I don't like hanging the phone up with people, and maybe you don't either. So the problem with that is, though, on the flip side for you guys as a business, is people don't want to get on the phone because they feel like if I'm on the phone and I'm not sure that this is right for me, and there's a really good salesperson, they're not going to let me leave until I bought something. So that's why they do a lot more of this convincing. They want to be really sure before they pick up the phone, because they know once they're in the phone, they're in a sales situation, they're in an approach where they're going to be sold to, and they want to be comfortable that they're ready to be sold to. So that's one challenge with the phone. Now with chat, you don't have that same thing. With chat, no one I've ever met has a problem just closing their internet browser, getting rid of the chat. They don't think about it, they don't worry about it, they just get on with their day, and it's like nothing ever happened. So the advantage of chat being a low commitment channel is that people are much more willing to engage with it earlier in their journey. And when they engage with it early in their journey, it then becomes down to you and down to the quality of your chat engagement, down to the quality of people you're connecting with, down to their knowledge, their expertise, their experience. But if that's good, which is an if, because a lot of it's really bad, but if it's a good chat experience, if it's a good chat interaction, you have the ability to shortcut this process because it's a human-to-human interaction. because the content isn't static. It's not written for someone who maybe doesn't think quite like that. It's actually a human listening to someone else, asking them questions and answering their questions. It's a bespoke, personalised engagement. It's real. It's two people having a conversation like you would have here, but in a less committal environment. So it can cover all these bases, but crucially, when done well, you can take someone who's over here, 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 understand where they are in that because you're having a conversation with them, and use good skills and properly trained people to accelerate them right down that process to the very next stage. So that's kind of an overview of the commitment value funnel. I wanted to talk you guys through this. It'd be great to get your feedback on this. It's a new model we've been working with over kind of the last 6 months, crystallizing our thinking on this. And also it'd be great to get some feedback on how you guys see chat. Do you see it here? Do you see it much more here? Or do you, as like a lot of people, see it exclusively for existing customers as a support tool and you've never really thought about it being used in this context? We find this is very effective. We find up to 1 in every 2 conversations become a qualified lead for our business. We find that those leads convert a hell of a lot better than leads from other sources, and a lot of that is because they've had that human-to-human interaction, which was good, which was high quality, it was engaging, it was relevant to them, at a point in their journey it was relevant to them, and they're now actually excited to get this phone call. We actually get people coming back on chat saying, when am I going to get my phone call? Because they're excited to hear from that company, and you just don't really get that when you download an ebook. So, commitment value funnel, that's where we see chat. Thanks so much for your time. It'd be great to hear your feedback. Thank you.